Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out a brand new series, Haikyu, season 1, episode 1. Now I'm not completely, full disclosure, I'm not completely new to Haikyu. I recall starting this this anime a few years ago, and I think I watched perhaps the first 3 episodes, or first 3 or 4 episodes. Actually, I don't particularly remember what happened. I stopped watching it. I don't recall why I stopped watching it. I was probably watching too many things and I just lost track of it. I'm stuck at home in this quarantine. I figured no, it'd be a good time to check it out. I want to catch up. I hear it's in its 4th season now, and I want to see where the team has gotten. But of course, that means I do need to catch up, and there are a lot of seasons to get through. So I thought, why not start now? So Haikyuu episode 1, guys. I do know that this is about volleyball, of course, and I'm not the biggest fan of sports anime, to be honest. There are a few that stand out. I know there are a few popular ones. Hajime no Ippo, which is very popular. I never saw that, but I know I've heard of it. I have seen Prince of Tennis in its entirety, except the new one. I think there was a remake some years ago. But I saw the original Prince of Tennis and I absolutely love that. But then I am a tennis fan, so there's some bias there. Volleyball, on the other hand, I know nothing about volleyball or how the game works. I've seen some clips here and there, and I know bits about. It's not the same as netball, so I can't even compare the two. But I've seen clips here and there of actual volleyball matches, so I have some basic understanding of how the rules, but very basic, right? And of course, Kuroko no Baskets, which I did see. I've seen the first 2 seasons or so of Kuroko no Baskets. I'm not even sure if it's still ongoing. I recall watching it religiously as it was being released, but I don't recall what happened at the. I don't remember what happened to the anime, to be honest. I know the manga's still ongoing. But from what I understand, I mean, Kuroko no Basket is a bit supernatural. Not supernatural, but their abilities and stuff like that in it, so it's not as grounded. And where sports anime is concerned, the more grounded, the better it is for me personally. Which is one of the reasons why I enjoyed Prince of Tennis so much. It added an element of flair to certain characters, to certain moves and techniques that are done, but not so over the top that it feels as though you're watching some superhero, anime, right? And I like that because it makes the sport a bit more relatable, a bit more easy to understand, and you can follow actual sporting rules for the sport and know that, okay, this is how it applies here. So I hear that Haikyuu does something similar, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to check it out again, because it does follow along similar paths to Prince of Tennis, which I enjoyed a whole lot. So anime can make anything great, so I have no doubt that this one will be really well too. And I do recall the first few episodes that I watched a few years ago that I did love the main characters and the dynamic on the team, at least when it was starting. But they hated each other, if I remember correctly, but obviously that will change. So I can't wait to catch up, guys. So Haikyu episode 1, let's check it out. The end and the beginning. A crow. Little giant. That's the name of the team, the high school. 3 years later. Hasn't gotten much taller.
Hinata 先輩、早くアップ取った方が。ほら、キャプテン仕切って。そうだよ。俺たち急に引っ張られてきて、ルールもよくわかんないんだから。
They said their turn was over, so they're from a different sport. Do they even know how to play? Man.
でかっ。
They are huge. I think they made a huge mistake, guys.
王様がいるんだろ。何それ知らねえの。影山飛びをコート上の王様って言われてるすっげえセッターなんだって。あいつらが相手王様ってなんだよ。大丈夫だって。
What do you mean? That kind of matters. Yeah, he's gonna throw up.
リベロもいねえの。でもほぼ小学生じゃん。試合になんないっしょ。おいお前ら。あんまり舐めるなよ。俺の腹が治り次第。
You don't look very intimidating. Touching your stomach like that. Not very intimidating.
おい、いいね。
The king.
やべ、影山先輩だ。そんなたくさん作っても飲まねえだろ。相手あれだぞ。確かに。対戦相手見下せるほど強いつもりなのか。
This is not a total dick.
前に乗っかってんじゃねえよ。すいません。体調管理もできてないやつが偉そうなこと言うな。だから舐められるんだろ。なんだと。一体何しにここへ来たんだ。思い出作りとかか。勝ちに来たに決まってる。
Won't know until you try. It's not enough just to be confident.
1回戦も2回戦も決勝も全国も勝ってコートに立つのはこの俺だ。
They have the same drive to win, so.
コート上の王様って言われてた影山飛びってあいつだよな。タイミング遅えよ。クイックはもっと早く入ってこいっつってんだろ。悪い。
Or you're tossing it too fast.
速さにこだわりすぎるなよ。だからな。
Exactly.
分かってます。
And if you know, do something.
コージ。
Ah, man, they suck.
ドンマイドンマイ。ナイスさー。おいおい、1点も入んねえんじゃない。いいじゃん。
2-0.
そりゃそう。
I mean, it's not good. It's good to be confident, but it's not enough to be confident. You have to put the work in and work on developing your skills.
あ、それと男子バレーは部活じゃなくて愛好会ね。部に変える。それか女子に混ざる。
So, volleyball just isn't a big thing at his school. So, I know the feeling. Where I'm, you know, football is a big thing where I went to school. So, that was always what the focus was on, even if that's not something I was interested in. The volleyball isn't big where he was. He just had to play on his own. But the girls have a volleyball team though. That's rough. They hit the nets.
お前男なのに女子バレー部なんだって。マジかよお前。ちげえよ。誰が目当てなの？3年に美人の先輩。
They're getting thrashed.
お前さ、試合に出らんないのによく練習やれるよな。試合には出るよ、そのうち。人集めてさ、今んとこ振られっぱなしだけど。ああ、泉、ちょっとでいいから、ごめん、今日。
Man, just begging people to practice with him. See, this is why I prefer tennis, alright? You can practice on your own. Oh, I mean, it's an individual sport. Team sports are great, but you need the right dynamic with people for it to actually work well. Caught it with his face.
腕痛いし、ボールを持ったところに飛ばないし、もうやだよ。お願い、もう一本だけ。
Wasn't kidding, he can jump.
俺は確かにチビだけど、この足で飛び越えてみせる。どんな壁も。
Nice. Blocked.
次も上げてやるからな。
Alright. They were blocked, but that was a good jump and a good toss.
の5番も強烈だな。
21-7.
でもまあ
I'm surprised they even got points, to be honest.
雪が丘
全部相手のミスだけどな。
Ah. They only got points because the other
す
team
げえ
missed.
ジャンプ力なのに
Calm down, dude. Calm down.
よしまたサービスエースまだだあれは無理だろ
It's not gonna catch us.
まだ落ちてないまだ
It's interesting because even though the other team is winning, they both have the same level of drive. You know, they won't lose. They don't want to lose, and the game isn't over until the last ball is played. So
よくわかんないけどでもまだ負けてないよ
game's not over yet.
そうだ単純なことだ
He's thinking the same thing.
難しいボールだどんな劣勢だろうが
Can you do that with your
戦い
foot?
続ける理由は一つまだ負けていないからまだってそうだカバーだ
Man, he doesn't even care. Like, I'm not diving after that. They scored.
勝負がついてねえのに気抜いてんじゃねえよ分かってるけどさ
It's like, I mean, there's a huge point difference. So I get it.
諦めさえしなきゃ落ちるぞ前前
All right, come on, guys.
でもそっちには誰も
Ow. It's fast.
マークしてたはずなのになんでそこにいる
Damn it. You're gonna get himself injured. It's out. He's a beast, though.
バックトスなんか予測してたわけがないにもかかわらず
It's fast.
打てたのか
Not
あ
just
いつはあの
jumping
トス
high,
に
he's fast.
反応できるのか翔ちゃん整列 お前は3年間何やってたんだ
なんだと
やめとけって
I don't think that's what he means, though. I don't think he's trying to insult him.
知らないくせに
He's just saying you're that good.
中学
But his school doesn't have boys for other boys for him to play with, so
高校に上がってきたら厄介な敵になりそうだな。
あのチビも楽しみっすね
you know, just a little guy.
相手が強くても弱くても結果は勝つか負けるかのどっちかで負けたらもうコートには立てない
He's gonna go pick a fight again.
お前がコートに君臨する王様ならそいつを倒して俺が一番長くコートに立ってやる
And the rivalry begins.
勝ち残りたかったら強くなってみろよ
Not bad advice. Practice for the girls' volleyball team. Alright, so some time is passing, it's now winter. And this is them leaving middle school, right? So they'll be starting high school next.
チャリンコで一山越えて30分今日から宮城県立
カラ
唐
スノ
津高等学校
サッカー部入りませんか野球部でマネジメントされてきて
Soccer and baseball.
これ今んとこの入部届。
サンキュー
来た来たカラスノこれからいっぱい練習してそれであの王様にリベンジだ
I I remember this. They're on the same team. Alright, then we have our first episode of Haikyu. And a bit of it is coming back to me. I recall these two characters and their dislike for each other in the first 2 episodes or so. And it's interesting. I mean, whether it's sports or in life itself, you know, it's important to have that drive to win. And I love how even so far, just in the first episode, a lot of the advice that they give you, it's not just applicable to sports, but in anything that you do, right? It's that the game isn't over until the last ball hits the ground, right? So you got to keep pushing, you've got to keep trying, and these two, although they were on opposite sides, they still had that drive to win, even when you are, and that's another thing too. I mean, even when you're ahead, right? Because the team that was in the lead. The king of the court, he said it, yeah, you know, even though his team was actually in the lead, it's like that doesn't mean that you try less, right? You still give it your all, you still give it 150%, no matter how far off you are, no matter how well off you are in life. You don't slack off and give 50% while everyone else is giving 100. So it's good. I love that. I love when anime have, you know, certain advice and life lessons in there that you can just take it and apply it to any aspect of your life, and so far that's my favorite thing about Haikyuu. And again with volleyball, and it's an interesting dynamic because here we see him coming into his new high school here, and they're talking about baseball and stuff like that, and no one's talking about volleyball really. So the volleyball team isn't a huge thing, and there is a female volleyball team, interestingly enough, because in certain circumstances it's usually the reverse, right, where some girls may want to play sports but they can't because the only sports that are available are boys only, right? And I don't know if it's intentional that the writers of the manga did that to kind of highlight that, you know. And we see a similar situation here where, I mean, this, what's his name, Shoyo Hinata, or Hinata wants to play. Back when he was in middle school, he wanted to play volleyball, and even in high school here now he wants to play volleyball, but volleyball isn't a big thing. Back in middle school, only the girls volleyball was a thing. There was no boys volleyball team. He was the only member, so you had to beg people to actually play with him, and so I can only imagine, you know, girls having the same challenge too. They want to play football, but the school doesn't have a girls football team or something like that. So it's an interesting topic, you know, how some of these sports are gender specific, and whether or not they need to be. There's always an argument to be made on both sides of the spectrum. Of course, men being more physically imbued than women, so in certain sports it's a given that it's necessary. But if that's the case, then it should make it mandatory for them to have the opportunity for both, right? Both boys and girls, but that's obviously not always the case. I mean, there are still pay inequalities happening now in certain sports, like even when women's football team in the U.S. who they win more trophies, but they don't earn the same pay because, according to, you know, supposedly the men to get more viewership or something. Who knows? But it's a system that has a lot that needs fixing, right? There's a lot of work to be done. But that's it, guys. First episode of Haikyuu. Absolutely love the episode, and slowly the names are coming back to me. I'll catch up with the names at least for the first episode or two anyway. But love the dynamic, love the characters so far, and I know I recall there are a few other characters who I absolutely loved when I first started off with this thing, that were introduced in the second or third episode that I'm waiting to see pop up. So definitely something I'm going to be continuing watching, and I can't wait, because I recall laughing a lot when I watched the first 2 episodes, and I imagine that won't change much. So hopefully you guys will be here with me for Haikyu. So be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.